The cold wind cut through Sarah's thin uniform like a knife. She stood at the bus stop, shaking as snow fell all around her. Her hands were so cold she could not feel her fingers anymore. The clock on her phone showed 11:47 p.m. Where was the bus? Sarah pulled her old jacket closer to her body. Did not help much. The jacket was too thin for this kind of weather. She had been standing here for over an hour now. Her feet hurt from working all day at the hospital. Her back ached from lifting patients. But the cold was worse than everything else. She looked down the empty street. No bus lights, no cars, just snow and darkness. Sarah wanted to cry, but she was too tired and too cold. She needed this job. She needed the money from working extra hours. Her mother was sick, and the medical bills kept coming every month. At 26 years old, Sarah thought her life would be different by now. She thought she would have a car, a warm apartment, maybe even some savings. Instead, she worked 12 hours a day and still could not pay all her bills. Sometimes she ate only one meal a day to save money. Sometimes she wore her work uniform to bed because her apartment was too cold. Tonight was one of the worst nights. The hospital had been crazy busy. 3 car accidents came in during her shift. She had to stay late to help with 2 emergency surgeries. By the time she finished her work, it was almost midnight. The buses did not run often this late at night. Sarah checked her phone again. The bus app said the next bus would come in 20 minutes, but it had been saying that for the past hour. She knew the truth. The bus was not coming tonight. The snow was too heavy. The roads were getting dangerous. She looked at her bank account on her phone. $47. That had to last until her next paycheck in 5 days. She could not afford to call a taxi. A taxi ride to her apartment would cost $30. That was money she needed for food. The wind got stronger. Sarah's legs started shaking. She could not stop her teeth from making noise as they hit together. Her nose was running, but her hands were too cold to wipe it. She wondered if she should walk home. But her apartment was 8 miles away. In this snow, it would take her 3 hours to walk. She might freeze to death before she got there. A few cars drove by on the street. Their headlights lit up the falling snow for a moment, then disappeared into the darkness. Sarah watched each car pass. She wondered what it felt like to be warm and safe inside a car on a night like this. She wondered what it felt like to not worry about money all the time. Her phone buzzed. A text message from her mother. How was? Work today, honey. Stay warm. Sarah smiled a little, even though she was freezing. Her mother always worried about her. But Sarah never told her mother how hard things really were. Her mother had enough problems with the cancer treatments. Sarah typed back, "Work was good, warm and safe." It was a lie, but a kind one. She put her phone back in her pocket and kept waiting. More snow fell. The wind made a howling sound that scared her. Sarah had never felt so alone in her life. She thought about her childhood when her father was still alive. He would pick her up from school in his old truck. The heater did not work very well. But it was better than standing in the snow with no car at all. Her father had died when she was 18. That was when everything changed. The medical bills from his heart attack took all their savings. Sarah had to work while going to nursing school. Her mother got sick 2 years later. Now Sarah was the only one working in the family. She loved being a nurse. She loved helping people feel better. But sometimes she wondered if she had made the right choice. Her friends from high school had easier jobs. They worked in offices with heat and regular hours. They went out on weekends and took vacations. Sarah had not taken a day off in 6 months. A big truck drove by too fast. Water and snow splashed up from the road onto Sarah's legs. Now her pants were wet and even colder. She wanted to scream, but no sound came out. She was too tired and too cold to be angry anymore. Sarah closed her eyes and tried to think of warm things. Hot coffee. Her bed with 3 blankets. The heating vent in the hospital break room. Summer days when she was a kid, playing in the backyard with no shoes on. When she opened her eyes, she saw headlights coming toward her. Another car that would drive past without stopping. This car was slowing down. Sarah watched as a shiny black car pulled over to the side of the road right in front of her. The car looked expensive. Very expensive. The kind of car Sarah had. Only seen in movies or magazines. For a moment, she felt scared. Why would someone in a car like that stop for her? What did they want? The window rolled down. Sarah could feel warm air coming from inside the car. A man looked out at her. He had dark hair and kind eyes. He was wearing a nice suit, the kind that probably cost more than Sarah made in a month. "Excuse me," the man said. His voice was gentle, not scary. "How long have you been waiting out here?" Sarah did not know what to say. She had been taught never to talk to strangers, especially at night. But this man did not look dangerous. He looked worried about her. "About an hour," she said quietly. The wind took her words away, so she said it louder. "The bus is late." The man looked at her nurse uniform. He looked at the way she was shaking from the cold. His face showed that he was upset about something, but not upset with her. He was upset about her situation. Without saying anything else, the man turned off his car and got out. Sarah watched him walk around the car toward her. His shoes looked expensive too, but he did not seem to care that they were getting snow on them. "I'm Marcus Rodriguez," he said, holding out his hand. "And you're freezing to death out here." Sarah looked at his hand, then at his face. Every rule her mother had taught her said not to trust strangers. But something about this man felt different. He seemed like he really wanted to help her, not hurt her. "I'm Sarah," she said, shaking his hand quickly. His hand was warm. "I'm okay, really. The bus will come." But even as she said the words, another strong wind hit her and made her stumble. Marcus caught her arm gently to help her stay standing. "The bus is not coming tonight," Marcus said. "Not in this weather. Please, let me drive you home. It's not safe for you to be out here." Sarah looked at the man standing in front of her. Marcus Rodriguez. The name sounded familiar, but she could not remember where she had heard it before. He was tall and looked like he had money. His coat was thick and warm. Shoes were shiny. "Even with snow on them, I don't know you," Sarah said. Her voice was shaking from the cold. "I can't just get in your car." Marcus nodded. He understood why she was scared. "You're right to be careful," he said. "But look around. There's no bus coming. The snow is getting worse." "How long can you stand out here?" Sarah looked down the empty street. He was right. No buses were coming tonight. She had been lying, too. Herself, hoping things would get better. But hope did not keep her warm. "I have an idea," Marcus said. He pulled out his phone. "Let me show you something." He opened an app and showed her the screen. It was his driver's license photo and information. Marcus Rodriguez, 32 years old. "I run Rodriguez Medical Supply Company. We sell equipment to hospitals." Sarah's eyes got wide. Rodriguez Medical Supply. That was where she had heard the name. She saw it on machines at the hospital every day. It was a big company that everyone trusted. "You really own that company?" she asked. "My father started it. I took over when he retired," Marcus said. "You probably sell equipment to your hospital." "What hospital do you work at?" City General, Sarah said. Marcus smiled. "What? We've been working with City General for 15 years. Dr. Martinez in the emergency room is a good friend of mine. Can call the hospital right now and ask about me if you want." Sarah thought about this. She did know Dr. Martinez. He was a good doctor who had worked at the hospital for a long time. If he was friends with this man, maybe Marcus was okay. Marcus said, "I can call you a taxi and wait here until it comes. Please don't stand out here alone anymore. It's not safe." The wind blew harder. Sarah's whole body was shaking now. She could not feel her feet inside her shoes. Her face hurt from the cold. She knew she had to make a choice soon, or she might pass out from the cold. "Why do you want to help me?" she asked. "You don't even know me." Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "My little sister is a nurse. She works night shifts too. I would want someone to help her if she was stuck in weather like this. And besides, people like you save lives every day. The least I can do is make sure you get home safely." Something in his voice made Sarah believe him. He sounded like he really cared about nurses and what they did. He did not sound like he was trying to trick her. "Where do you live?" Marcus asked. "I promise. I just want to get you home safe." Sarah told him her address. It was not in a nice part of town, but Marcus did not seem to care. He just nodded and opened the passenger door of his car. "The car is warm," he said. "You can call someone while we drive if it makes you feel safer." Sarah looked at the warm car, then at the cold, empty street. She made her decision. Into the car. The heat hit her right away. It felt like heaven after standing in the cold for so long. The seats were soft leather, and the car smelled new and clean. Sarah had never been in such a nice car before. Better? Marcus asked as he got in and started driving. Much better, Sarah said. She could not help but smile a little as feeling came back to her hands and feet. Thank you. You work a lot of night shifts? Marcus asked. Most nights lately, Sarah said. We don't have enough nurses, so they ask us to work extra hours. That must be hard on you. Sarah nodded. It is. But the extra money helps. She did not want to talk about her mother's medical bills or how little money she had. That was too personal to share with a stranger. But Marcus seemed to understand anyway. He had been in business long enough to know that most nurses did not work every night just for fun. They worked because they had to. I see a lot of tired nurses when I visit hospitals, Marcus said. You all work so hard. But the hospitals never seem to have enough money to hire more people or buy better equipment. That's true, Sarah said. She was surprised that someone who was not a nurse understood this. Sometimes we have to use old machines that break down. We don't have enough supplies. It makes our job harder. Marcus was quiet for a moment as he drove through the snowy streets. Then he said, I've been thinking about this problem. For a while, most people who run medical supply companies have never worked in a hospital. They don't know what nurses and doctors really need. What do you mean? I mean, someone like you would probably have great ideas about how to make hospital equipment better. You use it every day. You know what works and what doesn't work. Sarah had never thought about this before. She did have opinions about the equipment at work. Some machines were too complicated. Others broke down too often. Some were hard to clean or move around. I've always wanted to hire nurses as consultants, Marcus continued. People who could tell us how to make our products better. But most nurses are too busy working to take on extra projects. They were getting close to Sarah's apartment building now. It looked small and old next to Marcus's fancy car. Sarah felt embarrassed about where she lived. This is it, she said, pointing to her building. Marcus parked the car and looked at the building. He did not make any mean comments about it, which Sarah appreciated. Thank you for the ride, Sarah said. I really appreciate it. Wait, Marcus said before she could get out. I want to ask you something. Would you ever be interested in doing some consulting work? Looking at medical equipment and telling us how to make it better? Sarah was surprised. You're serious about that? It's very serious, and I pay well for good advice. Sarah thought about this. This extra money would help so much with her mother's bills. She was already working so many hours. I don't have much free time, she said. It wouldn't have to be a lot of time. It's maybe a few hours a week. You could do some of it from home. Marcus reached into his wallet and pulled out a business card. Think about it, he said. Call me if you're interested, or if you need anything else? Sarah took the card. It felt thick and expensive, like everything else about Marcus. Thank you again, she said. She got out of the car and walked to her apartment building. Marcus waited until she was safely inside before driving away. As Sarah climbed the stairs to her apartment, she looked at the business card. Maybe this night would turn out to be more important than just getting a ride home. Sarah could not sleep that night. She kept thinking about Marcus and his offer. She held his business card in her hands, reading it over and over. Marcus Rodriguez, CEO Rodriguez, Medical Supply. The card was thick and had gold letters. It looked important. The next morning, Sarah found an envelope under her door. Inside was a handwritten note from Marcus. Thank you for trusting me last night. You want to talk about the consulting job? Please call me. If you need anything else, call me too. Marcus. Sarah was surprised. Most rich people did not write thank you notes to strangers. Most rich people did not care about nurses who got stuck at bus stops. But Marcus seemed different. For the next 2 weeks, Sarah thought about calling him every day. But she was scared. What if he was just being nice the night they met? What if he did not really want to hire her? What if she was not smart enough to give advice about medical equipment? And Sarah had a very bad day at work. The hospital got 3 new patients who were very sick. But 2 of the heart monitors were broken. Sarah had to keep checking on the patients by hand because the machines could not do it automatically. It took much more time and made her job much harder. That night after work, Sarah called Marcus. "Sarah," Marcus said when he answered the phone. He sounded happy to hear from her. "How are you? Are you staying warm?" "I'm okay," Sarah said. "I was thinking about what you said, about the consulting work. I'm glad you called. You free for coffee tomorrow? We can talk about it." Sarah was nervous about meeting Marcus again. What if he was different when he was not trying to help someone in trouble? What if he was mean or rude like some rich people she had met at the hospital? But when she met Marcus at the coffee shop, he was just as nice as before. He bought her coffee and a sandwich without asking if she was hungry. He seemed to understand that she probably had not eaten much that day. "Tell me about your job," Marcus said. "What's the hardest part?" Sarah started talking about work. First, she was careful about what she said. But Marcus asked good questions and really listened to her answers. Soon, Sarah was telling him about all the problems at the hospital. "We have machines that break down all the time," she said. "And some equipment is so hard to use that it takes forever to help patients. Sometimes I think the people who make these machines have never actually used them." Marcus nodded. "That's exactly what I thought. Most medical supply companies only talk to doctors and hospital administrators. They never ask nurses what they need. But nurses use the equipment more than anyone else," Sarah said. "We're the ones who have to make it work every day." "Exactly," Marcus said. He was getting excited. "That's why I need someone like you, someone who knows what really happens in hospitals." They talked for 2 hours. Marcus told Sarah about his company and his ideas for making better equipment. Sarah told him about specific machines that did not work well and ideas she had for making them better. "You have great ideas," Marcus said. "I want to offer you a real job, part-time consulting work. You can do most of it from home and I'll pay you $50 an hour." Sarah almost choked on her coffee. $50 an hour was more than she made at the hospital. "Are you serious?" "Very serious. I think you could help us make products that nurses actually want to use." Sarah felt like crying, but in a good way. This could change everything for her and her mother. "When would I start?" "Whenever you want. How about next week?" That was 3 months ago. Now Sarah's life was completely different. She still worked at the hospital, but only 3 days a week instead of 6. The consulting work paid so well that she could afford to work fewer hours at the hospital. Marcus had become more than just her boss. He picked her up from work on cold nights, brought her lunch when she was working on consulting projects. He always asked about her mother and seemed to really care about the answer. Sarah had learned that. Marcus was not like other rich people she had met. He visited hospitals regularly to see how his equipment was being used. He knew the names of nurses and doctors at many hospitals. He really cared about making healthcare better, not just making money. One day, Sarah's mother had to go to the hospital for a special test. The test required a very expensive machine that most hospitals did not have. But when Sarah and her mother arrived at the hospital, they found out the machine was available and ready to use. Later, Sarah learned that Marcus had quietly arranged for his company to loan the machine to the hospital for free. He never told Sarah about it. She only found out when Dr. Martinez mentioned it. "Why didn't you tell me?" Sarah asked Marcus when she confronted him about it. Marcus looked embarrassed. "I didn't want you to feel like you owed me anything. Just wanted your mother to get the best care possible." That was when Sarah realized that Marcus was not just being nice to her because she worked for him. He really cared about her as a person. "You didn't have to do that," Sarah said. "Yes, I did," Marcus replied. "You're important to me, Sarah. Your family's important to me." Sarah felt her heart beating faster. Marcus was looking at her in a way that made her feel warm and nervous at the same time. "Marcus," she started to say, but he interrupted her. "I know this might sound crazy," he said. "We haven't known each other very long, but I think about you all the time. I look forward to our meetings every week. I worry about you when you're working late shifts." Sarah did not know what to say. She had been having the same feelings about Marcus, but she was scared to admit it. He was rich and successful. She was just a nurse who lived in a small apartment. "I like you too," she said quietly. "But we're so different." "We're not as different as you think," Marcus said. "We both care about helping people, both work hard. We both want to make the world a little better." Marcus reached across the table and took Sarah's hand. "I don't care about money or social class or any of that stuff. I care about you." Sarah looked into his eyes and saw that he meant every word. This man who could have anyone he wanted was choosing her, not because she was beautiful or sophisticated, but because he truly cared about who she was as a person. "Okay," Sarah said, squeezing his hand. "Let's see where this goes." Marcus smiled, the biggest smile Sarah had ever seen. "Really? Really?" Sarah said. And for the first time in years, she felt like everything in her life was going to be okay. Sarah's life became like a fairy tale over the next few months. Marcus took her to nice restaurants where she had never been before. He bought her a warm winter coat because he worried about her getting cold. Even got her a reliable car, so she would never have to wait for the bus again. At first, Sarah felt uncomfortable with all the expensive gifts. She was not used to having nice things. She was not used to someone spending money on her. "You don't have to buy me all these things," she told Marcus one day. "I like you for who you are, not for what you can give me." Marcus smiled. "I know that. That's one of the reasons I care about you so much. You've never asked me for anything. Most people I meet want something from me, but you just want to spend time with me." Sarah was learning that being rich had not made Marcus happy before he met her. He told her about other women he had dated who only cared about his money. Told her about business partners who tried to cheat him. He told her about people who pretended to be his friends but really just wanted favors. "I never know if people like me or just like my money," Marcus said. "But with you, I know it's real." Sarah understood this now. She had thought that having money would solve all problems. But Marcus had different problems than she did. He had money, but he did not have people he could trust. The consulting work was going very well. Sarah had helped Marcus's company design 3 new pieces of hospital equipment based on her suggestions. The nurses at City General loved the new equipment because it was easier to use and more reliable. "You have a real gift for this," Marcus told Sarah. "You understand what people need, and you know how to explain it clearly." Dr. Martinez at the hospital agreed. "Sarah, the new equipment your company designed is amazing," he told her one day. "It's like someone finally asked nurses what they actually wanted." Sarah felt proud of her work. For the first time in her life, she felt like she was doing something important that used all of her skills and knowledge. But the best part of Sarah's new life was spending time with Marcus. She learned that he was funny and kind. He remembered small things she told him, like her favorite flowers or the type of coffee she liked. He asked about her mother's health and always seemed genuinely interested in the answer. Marcus also learned about Sarah's life before they met. He learned about her father's death and how hard it had been for her family. He learned about all the times Sarah had gone without things she needed so her mother could have medicine. "You're the strongest person." "I know," Marcus told her. "Most people would have given up with everything you've been through." "I never felt strong," Sarah said. "I just did what I had to do." "That's exactly what makes you strong," Marcus replied. One evening, Marcus took Sarah to a fancy charity dinner. Sarah was nervous because she would meet many rich and important people. She was afraid they would think she did not belong there. "What if they ask what I do for work?" Sarah asked Marcus as they got ready to go. "Tell them you're a healthcare consultant," Marcus said, "because that's what you are. You help make hospitals better. That's more important than anything most of these people do." At the dinner, Sarah met doctors, lawyers, and business owners. At first, she was quiet and nervous. But when people started talking about healthcare, Sarah found herself joining the conversation. She knew more about hospitals and patient care than anyone in the room. "This young woman has some very interesting ideas," said Dr. Wilson, who ran the biggest hospital in the city. "You should listen to her." By the end of the evening, 3 people had given Sarah their business cards and asked if she would consider consulting for their hospitals too. "See," Marcus said as they drove home. "You belong anywhere you want to be. You have knowledge and experience that people respect." Sarah was starting to believe him. She was starting to see herself differently. She was not just a poor nurse anymore. She was a healthcare expert who happened to have started as a nurse. Marcus was changing too. Before he met Sarah, he had focused only on making money and growing his business. But Sarah helped him remember why his father had started the company. In the first place, to help sick people get better. "I want to do more than just sell equipment," Marcus told Sarah one day. "I want to really make a difference in healthcare." Together, they started a program to donate medical equipment to small hospitals that could not afford it. So, they created scholarships for nursing students who came from poor families like Sarah had. This feels more important than anything I've ever done, Marcus said as they visited a small rural hospital that had received donated equipment. Sarah watched Marcus talk to the nurses and doctors at the rural hospital. He asked them about their challenges and really listened to their answers. He was not just doing this for business anymore. He really cared about helping people. That night, as they drove back to the city, Sarah realized she was falling in love with Marcus. Not because he was rich or because he had helped her, but because of who he was as a person. He was kind and generous and smart. He cared about making the world better. "Marcus," she said as they sat in the car outside her apartment building. "Yes. I think I'm falling in love with you?" Marcus stopped the car and looked at her. "Really? Really?" Sarah said. "Not because of the money or the gifts or the job. Because of you. Because you're a good person who cares about others." Marcus leaned over and kissed her gently. "I fell in love with you the night I met you at the bus stop," he said. "I just didn't know if you could ever feel the same way about me." "Why wouldn't I?" Sarah asked. "Because you're so much better than me," Marcus said. "You save lives every day. You've sacrificed everything for your family. You work hard and never complain. I just inherited a company and got lucky." Sarah laughed. "That's not true. You've grown your father's company into something amazing. You treat your employees well. You care about making healthcare better. You stopped to help a stranger on a snowy night when you could have just driven by."
"We're good together," Marcus said.
"Yes, we are," Sarah agreed, as Sarah went up to her apartment that night. But she thought about how much her life had changed. 6 months ago, she had been a struggling nurse with no hope for the future. Now she had a job she loved, a man who truly cared about her, and a future full of possibilities. But the best part was that she had not lost herself in the process. She was still the same person who cared about helping others. She was still the same person who worked hard and did the right thing. She had just found someone who appreciated those qualities and wanted to build a life with her. 1 year after that snowy night at the bus stop, Sarah's life looked completely different. She woke up in a warm apartment that she could actually afford. She had a closet full of nice clothes. Her refrigerator was always full of food. But the best part was that her mother was healthy and happy. The cancer treatments had worked perfectly. Sarah's mother was declared cancer-free 6 months ago. The expensive medical equipment that Marcus had quietly arranged had made all the difference. In her treatment, "I still can't believe how lucky we got," Sarah's mother said, as they had lunch together. "That experimental treatment was exactly what I needed, and we got it for free." Sarah smiled but did not tell her mother the whole truth. Marcus had paid for most of the treatment, but he had made sure it looked like charity from the hospital. He never wanted credit for helping people, just wanted to help. "We weren't lucky, Mom," Sarah said. "We were blessed." Sarah's work had grown beyond what she ever imagined. She was now the director of healthcare innovation at Rodriguez Medical Supply. It was a job Marcus had created just for her. She traveled 2 hospitals around the country, talking to nurses and doctors about what they needed. Her ideas had led to the creation of 12 new pieces of medical equipment. All of the equipment was designed based on what healthcare workers actually wanted, not what engineers thought they wanted. "The Sarah Mitchell line of medical equipment is our most successful product line ever," Marcus told the board of directors. At their monthly meeting, hospitals love it because it actually makes healthcare workers' jobs easier. Sarah still worked part-time at City General Hospital. She wanted to keep her nursing skills sharp, and she loved taking care of patients. But now she only worked 2 days a week, instead of 6 days a week. The other nurses at the hospital were amazed by Sarah's success. "I can't believe you went from waiting for the bus in the snow to running a whole department at a medical supply company," said Janet, one of Sarah's closest friends at work. "It doesn't feel real sometimes," Sarah admitted. "But Marcus says that good things happen to people who work hard and care about others." "He's right," Janet said, "and he's lucky to have you." Sarah and Marcus had been officially dating for 8 months now. They spent most of their free time together. Marcus had taught Sarah about business and finance. Sarah had taught Marcus about healthcare and taking care of people. They made a good team at work too. Marcus was good at the business side of the company, managing money, making deals, planning for the future. Sarah was good at the healthcare side, understanding what hospitals needed, talking to doctors and nurses, designing better equipment. "We should make this partnership official," Marcus said one evening as they worked late in his office. "Do you mean?" Sarah asked. "I mean, you should be my business partner, not just my employee. You should own part of the company." Sarah was shocked. "Marcus, I can't accept that." "You've already done so much for me. This isn't charity," Marcus said seriously. "This is business. You've made this company millions of dollars with your ideas. You deserve to own part of what you've helped create." Sarah thought about this. A year ago, she had owned nothing except her old nursing uniform and some medical bills. Now Marcus was offering to make her a business owner. "Are you sure?" she asked. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life," Marcus said. "Except for one other thing." "What's that?" Marcus got down on one knee and pulled out a small box. Sarah's heart started beating very fast. "Sarah Mitchell," Marcus said, opening the box to show a beautiful ring. "You saved my life the night I met you. I thought I was helping you, but you were actually helping me. You taught me what really matters in life. You taught me how to care about other people instead of just caring about money." Sarah started crying happy tears. "I love your strength and your kindness," Marcus continued. "I love how hard you work and how much you care about helping people. I love the way you see the good in everyone, even in a rich guy who picked you up at a bus stop." Sarah laughed through her tears. "Will you marry me?" Marcus asked. "Will you be my wife and my business partner and my best friend for the rest of our lives?" "Yes," Sarah said. "Yes, yes, yes." Marcus put the ring on her finger and kissed her. Sarah had never been so happy in her entire life. They got married 6 months. Later, in a small ceremony with their family and closest friends, Sarah's mother cried happy tears throughout the whole wedding. Marcus's parents, who had flown in from Spain, told Sarah they had never seen their son so happy. "You brought out the best in him," Marcus's mother told Sarah. "He was always a good boy, but you made him a better man." Dr. Martinez from the hospital gave a speech at the wedding reception. "I've known Marcus for 15 years, he said. "I've never seen him as passionate about anything as he is about Sarah and their work together. They're not just married couples. They're a team that's making healthcare better for everyone." After the wedding, Sarah and Marcus took a honeymoon trip to Europe. It was Sarah's first time traveling outside the United States. They visited hospitals in different countries and learned about healthcare systems around the world. "I want to expand our company internationally," Marcus told Sarah as they sat in a cafe in Paris. "I want to help hospitals everywhere, not just in America." "That sounds amazing," Sarah said. "But let's make sure we always remember why we're doing this work." "What do you mean?" "I mean, let's never forget what it feels like to be the person who needs help," Sarah said. "Let's never forget what it feels like to be cold and scared and worried about money." Marcus took her hand. "That's why I need you as my partner. You keep me focused on what's really important." When they returned from their honeymoon, Sarah and Marcus started planning the next phase of their company. They wanted to create a foundation that would provide free medical equipment to poor hospitals around the world. "Every hospital should have the equipment they need to save lives," Sarah said at their first board meeting as husband and wife business partners. "And every healthcare worker should have tools that make their job easier, not harder," Marcus added. 5 years later, the Rodriguez Mitchell Foundation had donated medical equipment to over 200 hospitals in 30 countries. Sarah and Marcus traveled around the world, visiting hospitals and meeting with healthcare workers. But Sarah never forgot where she came from. Every winter, when the first snow fell, she and Marcus would drive to the bus stop where they first met. They would sit in their warm car and remember that cold night that changed both of their lives.
Wow.
"Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you had just driven by that night?" Sarah asked Marcus during one of these visits. "Never," Marcus said. "I believe some things are meant to be. I was meant to find you that night. We were meant to help each other." "I used to think rich people didn't care about regular people," Sarah said. "You proved me wrong. And I used to think success was just about making money," Marcus replied. Showed me that real success is about making a difference in people's lives. They still lived in the same city where they met. Sarah still worked at City General Hospital, 1 day a week because she loved taking care of patients. Marcus still visited hospitals regularly to see how their equipment was being used. But their favorite part of each week was the time they spent together, planning new ways to help healthcare workers around the world. They had learned that the best partnerships were built on shared values, not just shared interests. We make a good team, Sarah said as they drove home from the bus stop on a snowy December evening. The best team? Marcus agreed, reaching over to hold her hand. And as they drove through the falling snow, both of them remembered that sometimes the most important moments in life come when we choose to stop and help someone else, even when it would be easier to keep driving. Sometimes a simple act of kindness can change lives forever.